is the best podcast on the planet.
Have you ever been to a social event, a party, whatever, and somebody starts telling a story and you're like, oh, that's a fascinating story, but there's no way that that's true. There's no way that story is true. Very entertaining. Thanks for it, but not true. Did that happen to anybody?
It's usually the one-up stories. You know how the comedian Brian Reagan has that one-up,
Right.
Like, hey, I was at Last Supper. Hey, I was the busboy. How'd you like the food? They always one-up each other.
I always hate that when people do that. Yeah,
I do too. We try very hard on the show not to one-up each other. And it's really hard to do when you're doing a morning show with a crew. One person tells a story and you just want to jump in and go, oh yeah, I remember. And then you go into that. Well, what we're going to be talking about in this episode of the best podcast on the planet, stories that are 100% true, but you're not going to believe them. You are absolutely not going to believe them. All right. Let me start off with Don Carcos. Don Carcos was a World War II veteran, right? He was in combat. A mortar shell went off a few yards away from him, and he caught a piece of shrapnel in the eye. Blech. He went blind in that eye as a result of his injury. We fast forward for 64 years. Don is in his horse barn. He's in the stables, taking care of one of his horses, brushing him down. The horse decides to get a little frisky and boom, head butts him.
Ooh.
Knocks Don across the stall, bangs into the wall, bangs his head up against the back of the wall, the stall there, and his sight comes back in his eye, just like that. Just like that. And it was almost like 20/20 vision in that eye as a result of the injury. That actually happened. That is an absolute true story.
It'll freak you out, like most of your life, you don't have vision in that eye, and then all of a sudden it comes back.
I know. It's like, why am I in stereo? It's like Cousin Eddie said, right? She falls down a well, eyes go cross, gets kicked by a mule, eyes go back to normal. I don't know. But that's what I'm talking about. Do you guys have anything like that? Any stories like that at all?
I mean, I don't have anything like that.
Weird but true.
Weird but true. I do have a story from a family member. So, I mean, they say it's 100% true, but I mean, I don't know. Hearsay.
You think alcohol was involved?
No, I don't think so. In fact, this family member is not known for like anything out of the ordinary. He's pretty level-headed. He doesn't really have much of a sense of humor. He's not really he's not a one-up or anything like that, which that's why I was like, maybe
so he's boring.
Yeah, a little bit. He's a little, he's always been like the grouchy guy of our family. We've always, kind of joked that he was, the grouchy uncle or whatever.
Right.
He's fine, but he's just not, he's not one to tell weird stories like this or maybe lie about it or whatever. So, we
call it embellish.
Yes.
Not lying. It's embellishing.
Sure. So that's not him. So that's why I'm like, maybe this is true. So he was driving in South Florida. This was like back in the late 70s, early 80s, I guess. And him and his wife, and it's real dark at night, and it's on a road. I'm not really sure which road. I probably should know this, but it's on the way to Lake Okeechobee. And so there's not, or at the time, there was not much out there.
Probably Highway 98. Probably Highway.
Could be.
I still heard it. So.
From down in South Florida to there. Yeah, I don't know. So he was on his way and really dark. He's the only one on the road. His wife was asleep and they had two dogs in the back also asleep. And he's driving and he's coming up and, he has his brights on, but he sees something walking across the road. And he's kind of, because this is all wood. So he's like, what guy is walking across the road?
It's a moonshiner.
There's nothing out here, And so, he, keeps coming up to it and starts slowing down and then realizes, I don't think that's a guy. And then I guess he's also a speeder, side note. So he didn't slow down in time. So he hit it. And I say it because it wasn't a person. My aunt says that his wife says that she woke up to see a giant hairy butt in the windshield. And then it rolled off.
Hit Dale?
And so, so he stopped, pulled over. The headlights were broken, and there's a few, scratches and dents on the front side of the car. He looks over because he really wasn't sure what he saw or what he hit. So, nothing on the side of the road. There's nothing out there, and this is before cell phones. So they, get back and of course the dogs wake up and they're going crazy.
Right.
And so they, drive on and finally get to whatever, is the next stop there, and contact Highway Patrol and let them know, because they're like, I don't know if it was a bear, but it was walking on two legs. So that's kind of weird. Bears don't do that.
He killed the Jack Lynx Sasquatch. That's why jerky is so expensive now.
Apparently.
Thanks.
I don't know that he killed it because it went away. So,
well, it died
it wasn't
later.
on the side of the road. Sure.
So it was a wildebeest or a yeti or a chupacabra.
Well,
or a Kardashian.
Yeah, same thing.
He got a hold of Florida Highway Patrol, and they kind of did some testing because they weren't sure what he hit. And actually, the DNA test came back inconclusive to nothing that matched anything on record. So it was.
Are you
it wasn't a
serious?
human butt. Butt.
No, it didn't. It didn't match anything human. It didn't match a bear. It didn't match anything because there was hair and there was blood and everything on the.
Did
on
he
the
keep
car,
some of the hair?
I'm sure Florida Highway Patrol did or something.
No, he should have kept some. You put it in a little baggie, and,
yeah.
So you're telling me, hang on, you're telling me that they did a DNA test on the goo that was left in his grill, and it didn't come back matching anything.
Anything on record? No.
So what you're saying is the squeezins from the guys, the squeezins from that Yeti.
It's Yeti squeezins.
I mean, they can get DNA from hair too. It may not have.
Oh yeah.
That. So.
It wasn't goo.
I'm not. See.
I don't know. Who knows?
My mom once told me that she saw a UFO. Okay. She told me one time that she was driving. I think she was driving the highway between Los Angeles and Las Vegas. I think. And she says this light came down, hovered above the car. She floored it. She's doing like 100 and something miles an hour. This thing is right along with her. Now, this is back in probably the 40s or early 50s. So, doing 100 and something miles an hour in a car, that was a big deal. Nothing can keep up. So, and she said then it just poof, zoomed off. It may have been something from the skunk works out there in Area 51.
I was gonna say, isn't that the time for Area 51?
Sure.
Sure.
It could have been any number of things, but she swears it was a UFO, and I was like, sure, Mom.
That was back when the aliens were respectful. They didn't probe you and stuff way back then. They didn't start probing to like late 60s, early 70s.
Well, now they have to ask permission.
Yeah, well, they should.
They need consent.
Yeah, they should. They really should.
Yeah.
Can you listen before we get started with the whole probe? Would you mind signing this waiver? And listen, we're going to ask you. Let's not put this on Instagram, okay? Can we just
show me on the doll where the alien touched you?
All right, I got another one for you. Dale.
Yes.
We have a mutual friend, Tim. Remember the colonel from the Marine Corps? Mm-hmm. He has twin brothers, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Sean and Jim
and John, right? Mm-hmm. Jim and John. Okay. They both went through a medical problem exactly at the same time. One of them found that there was a little bit of cancer somewhere on a guy that is a very sensitive place to get the cancer. You know what I'm saying? He discovered it, needed to go in for surgery. He called his brother, his twin brother, and said, hey, by the way, just want you to know this is happening. Maybe you should go to the doctor. He went to the doctor, had the exact same thing. They both had the exact same issue and had the exact same surgery a week apart.
Wow.
But that's not the amazing story I've got for you. This is two individuals. They are twins, and they both happen to be named Jim. But these twins were separated at birth due to adoption, right? Mom had to give up the kids to adoption. They were both adopted. Gracie's got a present for you, Holly.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
For those of you not watching the video, Holly's got her co-host, her adorable little girl in the background playing. How old is Grace now?
She's 4.
She's 4, and she is Adorable. Got the big, cutest little chubby cheeks. She's adorable. Anyway, I digress. So the two Jims, they're both ending up named Jim, right? They're separated at birth. They end up both getting named by their different parents, Jim. They both got married and then subsequently divorced a woman named Linda. So their first wife was named Linda, both of them. When they got divorced, they ended up remarrying. Both of them got remarried to a woman named Betty, right?
Now, and they didn't know each other during this time.
No, they were completely separated. They both got the same breed of dog. They both named their dog Toy. So if I can take a moment here to say Toy is a stupid name for a dog.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Weird. That's weird.
Toby is a great name for a dog.
Yeah, it is.
Toy is dumb. Okay, so they ended up both having sons, and they both named their sons James Allen.
What?
These two guys ended up through social media finding each other, getting together after 39 years apart. They discovered where they were. They searched for each other. And then they went through all this and discovered there was all of these similarities. How freaky is that?
That's so weird.
I kind of feel like you should be playing that unsolved mystery music, like while you're telling the story.
By the way,
Robert Stuck.
Oh, that voice.
Oh,
that voice gets you every time. You know, they restarted it on Netflix.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Have you watched those stories?
Yeah.
They're scary, creepy.
No, they're
stuff.
not. They're fun.
Listen, the ones that come up and say, "Oh, by the way, we've solved this mystery," those make me feel better. The ones that are still unsolved,
the suspect is still at large.
Yeah,
exactly. Listen,
he's outside my window right now.
There's another show on Netflix that we are about 3 or 4 episodes into. Abducted.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
You've seen it?
No, I want to.
It's several stories of people that have been kidnapped and held for ransom.
Oh, not by aliens.
No, well, not yet. I haven't gotten all the way into it.
Oh, okay.
But apparently,
I mean, just the name abducted. I'm like, oh, alien abduction.
Or is it abducted or hostage? It may be hostage. I don't know.
Okay.
But anyway, check it out. Dude, those stories will freak you out.
Oh, I get it. So it's called what again?
It's either hostage or abducted.
Okay.
I don't know. I probably should have known that before we started this, shouldn't I? All right, here's another one. Now, this story, I don't know if this guy is the luckiest man on the planet or the unluckiest guy on the planet. Again, it's a World War II story. So we now take our heroes to 1945, Japan. Anybody remember what happened in Japan at the end of the war?
Mm-hmm.
It's a history test.
Hiroshima, right?
Right. Hiroshima and then...
Hiroshima, okay.
Whatever. Hiroshima.
Tomato.
And then Nagasaki, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this gentleman was working, or he lived in Hiroshima the day of the attack. The bomb went off. He survived the initial blast. He got himself to an air raid shelter, got a little bit of help, got some medical attention, spent the night, and then the next morning he had to be at work. So he caught a train to Nagasaki in order to get to work. That's where while he was at work, later on, he survived the second blast at Nagasaki.
What?
So this guy, oh my gosh, Hiroshima's not safe. I'm gonna go to Nagasaki and go back to work. This place is a wreck. I'm not sticking around here. What's that sound? What?
He had the worst case of PTSD ever, probably, from that. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Is he and he survived both. So my question is he the luckiest guy on the planet or the unluckiest guy on the planet?
Wow.
I mean, the fact that he probably glows in the dark. I mean, that's.
I was going to say, is he still alive? Because
no. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, the third arm comes in handy. The third arm comes in handy.
Yeah. Sure. All right, here's another one for you. Violet Jessup. She was a ship's nurse. And this is long before cruising was, the big industry that it is now. Cruise ships and everything were a thing, but they weren't like they are now. She first served on the Olympic, right? The Olympic. It collided with the warship and almost sank. She was rescued. Well, she said, okay, that boat's not going anywhere. I'm still working. I'm going to get on the sister ship of the Olympic, which was the Titanic.
Oh,
yeah. She survived the Titanic. She was one of them that survived the sinking
was she that
of the
old
Titanic.
bag that threw the necklace over the rail?
Yes, she's the one. She's the one. Now, after surviving 2 at-sea wrecks, which is very unusual, I would have said, I'm out. I'm done.
Me too.
I'm not doing this anymore. I'm now working on land.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even going to be a lifeguard at a pool. I'm good, right? I'm not. No, she continued to work. So she then got on board and served as a ship's nurse to the Britannic, which was hit by an underwater mine and sank. And she survived that as well.
What?
Yeah,
Wow.
she survived all 3 of these ship crashes or shipwrecks. All 3 of them. There's no way.
Wow.
I would not be like, no.
Something simple probably took her out. Something real simple.
She tripped.
Yeah.
She tripped over her dog at home.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to say anything because I really don't know how she passed. It probably happened. By this time, I'm sure she's no longer with us. But man, okay. One more, if we got time. Yeah, we got time. In 1990, a panel of a windscreen on a British Airways flight 5390. You can check this out. Flight 5390. The windscreen in the cockpit fell out at 17,000 feet.
Wow.
Fell out.
Yeah, it came out.
So is that like the windshield of the airplane? When you say okay.
The British call it a windscreen, darling.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's windscreen, baby.
There's some weird things
it's the windscreen,
there.
baby.
Okay. I just wanted to know.
It came out, and obviously that causes the cockpit to decompress quite rapidly. The pilot got sucked out of the windshield. It's like it's it's not exactly right in front. It's off to one side. Okay,
Yeah.
it's just like it's not on the exact side, but it's like the corner, right?
Yeah.
It sucked him out. The co-pilot and the navigator held on to this guy's legs. He is dangling out of the airplane.
Oh,
Dangling out of the airplane at 17,000 feet. They made an emergency landing, but it took 20 minutes to get to the ground. And this guy is hanging out the front of the airplane by his legs for 20 minutes.
Until they landed?
They landed safely, and he was okay.
Oh my gosh.
Except,
Maybe a
for
little
some
tall.
bumps, some scratches.
maybe a little
And
taller than he was before, but he's
Sure.
my legs didn't bend this way before.
Yeah, man.
I don't know. I can dance now, baby, an entirely different way.
I'm just a smidge taller.
I'm incredible in limbo now, baby.
They're just assuming that he's British.
Well, he was a British Airlines pilot. Of course he's British. What else is he going to be?
I don't know. Yeah.
It's not, hey, I fly for British Airlines. How y'all doing? You guys got
It
in
could
there that
happen.
barbecued bangers and mash? That stuff's good. No, of course he was British. Well, he was British for this story.
Okay.
All right, I found so many of these, and I was just absolutely fascinated by them. Do you guys know who Owen J. Baggett was?
No.
What? Owen J. Baggett No, okay. He became known as the only person to down a Japanese aircraft, again, in World War II. We don't do that kind of thing now, okay? Just so that you understand. That's not a modern thing. It's a World War II thing. He downed a Japanese Zero with his handgun, his model 1911 45 automatic handgun. He shot down the airplane while parachuting.
Whoa.
They were in a dogfight, right? They were in a dogfight. His plane got hit, so he backed out and he's parachuting down. The Zeros are buzzing him. They're flying around. He draws his sidearm while he's parachuting and starts shooting at the airplanes as they're going by. He hits one of the pilots in the head.
Oh my God.
Through the canopy, in the head, the plane crashed. And he's, as far as they know, he's the only one that's ever done that.
Wow.
And I'm looking at a photo. I don't know how they took this picture, but I'm looking at this old grainy World War II photo. And it shows him with his hand out with a gun in his hand aimed at a Japanese plane flying by. Now, I don't know if this is the one that he killed, but here it is. Yeah. And it was from one of the bombers that they were escorting.
I was like, who's like, oh, I'm going to take a picture right now. You know, they're in the middle of a dogfight. I'll just take a picture. It's fine.
Yeah. So I'm going to pull out my camera, baby, and take a picture.
Okay.
Because he was British too, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Sure.
Yeah.
Them crazy Brits.
I know, crazy. They're just nuts. All right, I got a couple really good news ones for you. Okay, these are really this is how we'll end. Good news ones. You guys ever play the lottery?
Here and there.
Yeah. All right, so we have the Powerball here in Virginia, and just for fun, I played a couple numbers because I was driving to work one day and the billboard said that the prize was $365 million. And I thought, oh, that's $1 million a day. Yeah, okay, sure. It's worth a buck or two.
Yeah. Not after taxes, Seth. I'm just saying.
I didn't win anything.
Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah. Anyway. So in 1999, an Australian guy named Bill Morgan was declared dead for 14 minutes. He had a heart attack and was declared dead for 14 minutes. However, the medical team kept working on him and he came to. He survived without any side effects, no problems whatsoever, no brain damage, no physical ailments, nothing. He was fine. So to celebrate, he went out and bought a scratch-off card, right? One scratch-off card and won a $27,000 car.
Wow.
Scratch-off card. Now that's how you celebrate winning coming back to life.
Yeah.
So when the news team said, hey, that's really cool, what we'd love to do is, would you mind just buy another scratch-off ticket and let's get some video of you scratching off and just for B-roll for the story. He's like, I really don't want to, but yeah, okay, what the heck, I'll do it. So he bought another scratch-off ticket. They're filming the news. He scratches it off. He won $250,000 jackpot with that scratch-off ticket.
The news team would be like, "You're sharing that with us because we told you to." Right. This is
a part of that, right?
Yeah.
Right, mate? I mean, yeah, no?
Yeah.
Sharing that? Okay, well, we're not putting your story on the news.
Yeah, right? You're like, okay.
All right, I got one more. We got just a couple minutes left. I got one more about nurses. 2 nurses were hired within months of each other to work the same shift at the same hospital on the same floor. Now, this is in Florida. Dale, I don't know if you know this story. Have you guys heard about this one?
Where's it at? Where in Florida?
I don't have the name of the town or the hospital here. But they are from Korea, and they had been separated as children in Korea. So they made their way to the United States. They both separately, not knowing each other, they both went into nursing, and they both ended up getting hired unbeknownst to each other at the same hospital, working the same shift on the same floor. And they noticed they liked each other. Well, they were both, they were both from the same area. The next thing you know, they realize they've got some familiarity. They've got some similarities. They start talking. They discovered they were sisters that had been separated 40 years prior.
That's awesome.
Wow.
How cool is that?
That's really
How
cool.
random.
Yeah,
It
across
is
the
random.
world. You know, they come to the U.S. I mean, how many states are you going to choose? You choose Florida in the same place. Like, that's kind of awesome.
I know. And I think, well, I would. I mean, I think it's kind of cool, you know? My question is, knowing my dad and the way he was, I'm still waiting for somebody to come up to me and go, I'm your long lost brother.
Oh,
Hey, you need to do that. What's that 23andMe thing? Or
You know what?
yeah.
my father-in-law did it,
And?
and he discovered some cousins that he hadn't met. So
Really?
I don't think he's met them, but I think maybe he had heard of them, or something
Right.
like that. So, but yeah, there's some, you know, if you've had one of those parents or grandparents that particularly was,
Well, there's a
they
story.
got around.
I remember when I was like in late grade school, right? Excuse me, late grade school. My dad hired a person to work in he owned a business. He owned two businesses, one in Lakeland, Florida, and one in Plant City, Florida. And my mom worked in the one in Plant City. She ran that shop. And my dad worked at the one in Lakeland, which meant he needed some help, right? He needed somebody to come in and help. And the woman that he hired, I remember as a young lad thinking, she's kind of cute. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, she had to go. She was let go. And rumor has it that there was a problem, and my mom decided that person needed to not be working with my father any longer. And the more I've come to know stories about my dad passed away 20 some odd years ago. The more I find out about my dad, there's a real distinct possibility that someday somebody's going to come up and go, Mila, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He sounds like a good candidate for 23 and Flea.
Yeah.
Leave that.
23 and Flea. Oh, gosh. Well, there it is. These are some really cool, unusual, and weird stories. But every one of the stories that we've talked about, they're all 100% true. They're verifiably true. Weird things happen. Weird things happen all the time. And, sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it's heart-wrenching. Sometimes it's encouraging. But it's fun. Right?
Fascinating.
It is
But
fascinating.
You really need to do that, Seth, because then we'll have another one of these stories, and it'll be recent, and that'll be cool. So
you want me to do what? The
DNA thing, Yeah.
But see, then you can DNA match for crime scenes and stuff, and I don't know if I want to do that.
So
What?
do you have intentions of
My daughter has one of those kits. We bought her that for her 16th birthday.
Yeah,
and she still
you should
hasn't done it. Can I get the DNA test? Can I get it? Yeah, sure. Why not? Okay. Has she done it? No. No. So we're hoping. All right. We're almost out of time. Thank you for joining us. This has been the very first episode of the brand new year of your favorite podcast. You know what to do. Click the like button, subscribe. And if you would like to send us some information about a weird and interesting and unusual story that you know for a fact is true, not that you heard your uncle hit Sasquatch, you know it's true, send it to us at SethMilaMedia@gmail.com. Until we talk again next time, have fun and enjoy yourself. We'll talk again soon. See ya.